I consulted to both union and non-union employers to get them the flexibility they needed. But some of the testimony you heard about even employers that consider themselves good employers, with the flexibility sometimes goes only one way. I actually had to defend an employee who was being disciplined for trying to flex her time to go to the burial of her parent, and they wouldn't grant the time off. So I've seen the worst. So I would just really strongly recommend that you proceed in the fashion, because whenever you see like a graveyard of bill after bill failing year after year, that's a big clue that you need a different approach. Thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you very much. Would you like to close?
I would. I would address it a few ways. First, I want to tell you that the very first people I met with when I decided to carry this bill were labor. I set up several meetings with various people in labor trying to find a win-win. I have made it very clear that I am willing to take a number of amendments to think outside the box to try to work together to something that recognizes the modern family. So I appreciate the suggestion, totally agree with it, totally agree that flexibility has to go both ways, and I'd be more than happy to work on an informational hearing or something like that to talk about the changing dynamics in society. Because while we do need to respect the fact that some gains have been very hard fought for over the years, we also have to recognize that society and people and families change over the years. And I think it's our responsibility to try to be flexible ourselves as we adjust to the changes and the dynamic changes in society. So in closing, I would say one of the things I would say is that all of these hearings, I've been at many of them myself, I've never seen an actual employee come to testify in opposition. I've never met an employee who would not at least want the option of having the flexibility. The haircut, I understand what you're saying. That was just one example of what you could do if you had a predictable 4-hour work week instead of an unpredictable schedule changes where it changes every week. It just doesn't work for people. Occasional work week changes aren't what employees are seeking. So really appreciate the committee being willing to hear me out. Last thing I would leave with is we are in a time, whether we like it or not, teachers are being furloughed. It's awful. And right now we have a situation where in the absence of a flexible work week, parents have to pay for daycare when otherwise they could stay home with those children. And so I just appreciate the interest in having an informational hearing. I would be very interested in, Chair, in working with you on something like that. I think the evidence we clearly have is that 99% of employers are not using the existing law. Right. So thank you again for listening, and would respectfully request an aye vote or an opportunity to work with you on this as a 2-year process.
All right. So we need a motion to move the bill. The bill's been moved. Is there a second? There's been a second to the bill. Well, thank you very much for the bill. I will not be supporting the bill today. I think that actually all the statements that you made are accurate about the difficulty times that we have before us, how challenging it is. I happen to believe that those are the times when we need to keep our laws in place to make sure that workers are respected for the time they put in on a job, and they're paid adequately for the time they put in on a job. I think that that strengthens the purpose of these laws. And so, and we've heard this before. Should you explore this question, it always should be open for exploration. But I won't be supporting the bill today because I do believe that workers deserve to be paid for the time that they work, and if they work overtime, they should be paid for that. We have to move toward a system of respect in our workforce, and I think that that system allows for that respect to take place. Okay, with that, we call the roll.
Swanson?
Swanson, no.
Swanson, no. Morell?
Yes.
Morell, aye. Alejo? Allen? No. Allen, no. Furtani?
No.
Furtani, no. Gurel, Yamada? No. Yamada, no.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, that bill's on call. Yeah. Okay, so.
Do you want to?
No, just.
I'm going to be here. Oh, sure. No, I'll do it from right here. Thank you.
I
Okay.
must testify in education, so I'll turn the chair over to Mr. Furtani for now.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fong, you have two bills? Yes. Members, we're going to do item number 10, AB 923, and item number 16, AB 1236. Welcome, Mr. Fong, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and member. A good job and long-term employability, that's a need and desire of every American worker. However, the high cost of education and retraining results in limited career advancement opportunities for millions of frontline workers. AB 923 is a way to bridge this funding gap and assist workers to achieve their career goals. Lifelong learning accounts, more commonly known as LILAs, or worker-owned, employer-matched portable accounts used to finance lifelong learning. They're similar in concept to the 401k retirement accounts, except the funds are used for education and training throughout one's lifetime. LILAs encourage a partnership between workers and employers to invest in education and training to meet the needs of business and industry and help workers achieve their own career goals. I respectfully request your aye vote, and I have some witnesses in support.
Please.
I'm Helen Roth Dowden with CALE, which is the Council for Adult and Experiential Learning, and we're the sponsors of the bill. And this bill is based on a very successful pilot projects that have been held across the country, and several states are moving forward with similar kinds of programs.
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Amabella Kamens, and until recently, I was the program manager of the LILA program at Jewish Vocational Services in San Francisco. And I just wanted to urge you to support AB 923 as a unique way to encourage employers and their workers to co-invest in worker education and training. As Representative Fong said, it's really this innovative model that's been tested in many cities around the country. As the employee, I contribute a portion of my paycheck to a savings account. My employer matches it, and then I am then able to withdraw it to use for very specific career-related training. This is not just training as a hobby, but this is training that is customized to me, to advance my career, to advance the state's labor market. LILAs, Lifelong Learning Accounts, the program itself also provides customized educational training and advice exactly for each worker to determine the right path in his career, to be able to advance his career and to be competitive in today's economy. Let me give you a couple examples. We just finished a program in San Francisco where we had 150 LILA participants. Let me give you the example of John. John, single father, raising two young boys. I met his young boys. They're 8 to 10 years old. He works for an agency that provides residential services to those who are developmentally disabled. John works in an entry-level job, $13 an hour, as a geriatric aide. We would call it like an orderly. What John did, he enrolled in the LILA program. He used the matched funds to complete a training to become a licensed vocational nurse, an LVN. He applied for an opening in his employer for licensed vocational nurse, and the last time I spoke with him, he was working full-time as an LVN, and it was double his $13 an hour salary. That's the kind of results we're seeing from the LILA program, from the pilots that have been tested all over the country.
Thank you. Are there any more witnesses in support? Any witnesses in opposition? Members, any questions?
Just one question.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm the only other member here, and I have to leave, so but I'll vote first. I love this program. It's great. It is innovative, but I want to make sure I understand this. Is this sort of thing that's going to require federal legislation in order to have it move forward?
Yes.
And so we're trying to position ourselves for that possibility?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Right. And the federal legislation has to do with tax credits. What we want to do in California is take the Scholar Share program, which is the 529 program in the Treasury, and let small businesses put their money in this as the savings, the matched accounts. Right now, you can use it for younger, for young kids who are going to college. This would be a safe place to put working adults could put their money. And we know that the Treasurer's Office is going to be around, and their program is run through Fidelity, which is a private organization, and it's a way of allowing smaller employers places like IBM already have this. So this is for the mid-sized employers who could then use this and not have the big overhead of having to set up a program like this.
I'd like to move the bill.
I will second. That's your roll call, please.
Swanson, Morel, Alejo, Allen. Aye. Allen, aye. Furtani.
Aye.
Furtani, aye. Gurel. Yamada.
AB 923,
923,
that's an aye.
Yamada,
Thank
aye.
you. This is
On call.
voted aye before.
Mr. Fong, that bill is on call, and, people are going to be coming in and out, so we'll get. And your next bill, item AB 1236.
Yes. Mr. Chair and member, as many of you know, E-Verify is a voluntary internet-based program created in 1997 that supplements the I-9 employment eligibility verification process. It allows employers to electronically verify U.S. citizen and non-citizen employees' employment eligibility with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the Social Security Administration. The effectiveness of E-Verify, however, has been questioned by several state and federal entities, including the United States GAO. In 2007, independent evaluation of the program commissioned by DHS found that the E-Verify database is not sufficiently up-to-date to meet the requirements for accurate information. As a result, the SSA estimates up to 3.6 million workers a year could be misidentified if E-Verify were to become mandatory and the SSA databases were not improved. In 2008, the Intel Corporation submitted queries to E-Verify with nearly 13% of all their workers being initially flagged as unauthorized for employment. All of these workers were later cleared by E-Verify as work authorized, but only after significant investment of time and money and lost productivity. This bill will provide employers the flexibility to decide if participating in E-Verify would be beneficial to their business. AB 1236 does not prohibit the use of E-Verify. Rather, it prohibits the state, cities, and counties from requiring the use of E-Verify by private employers. With me today, I have my sponsors from the Mexican American Legal Defense Fund, the California Immigrant Policy Center, and the National Immigration Law Center. I'd ask for your aye vote.
Welcome, whoever's going to testify first.
Cool.
Hi, my name is Vivek Mittal, and I'm an Equal Justice Works Fellow at the National Immigration Law Center, and we are a sponsor of the bill. AB 1236 is an important legislation that prevents the unnecessary loss of jobs for workers, averts the use of a program that impacts foreign-born workers in a discriminatory manner, makes certain that workers are not forced into the underground economy due to E-Verify, and ensures that all California workers and businesses flourish. AB 1236 ensures that E-Verify error rates do not cause California workers to lose their jobs. There are numerous instances of E-Verify's errors causing problems for workers. For instance, a U.S. citizen applied for a position with a temporary agency in California, only to be turned away because E-Verify was unable to confirm her work authorization. The employer did not advise her of her right to contest the finding and violated the law by asking her to show additional documents. She was unemployed for over 4 months without health insurance and was diagnosed with a serious illness during that time. If E-Verify were to be made mandatory in California, about 90,000 workers would likely lose their jobs, and that is an underestimate. If using LA County's erroneous error rate on E-Verify, nearly 500,000 authorized workers would be affected in some negative way by the program. AB 1236 minimizes the discriminatory impact E-Verify has on foreign-born workers. Since under E-Verify, the erroneous non-confirmation rate for these workers was 20 times higher than U.S.-born workers. According to the U.S. Census, California's foreign-born population comprises more than 26% of the state's population. Any E-Verify mandate would have a devastating impact on these individuals. As was a concern with the prior bill, AB 1236 ensures that workers do not move into the underground economy due to E-Verify. When Arizona mandated E-Verify, numerous workers moved into the underground economy, and during this time, tax collection dropped 13%. This loss happened at a time when the state was facing a $3 billion budget gap. This bill also ensures that small businesses that are at the core of California's economy can continue to make California prosperous. Small business owners across the country, including Mr. Moon here, are concerned about E-Verify. For instance, an Arizona small business owner, Mike Castillo, states that the program isn't user-friendly for small business owners. He recently tried to hire a part-time worker, but a technical glitch that took days to fix made it difficult. If you don't have the luxury of a human resource staff, says Mr. Castillo, E-Verify takes time away from your core business. AB 1236 provides an opportunity to prevent all these problems associated with E-Verify from plaguing California. It's a it's a step in the right direction for workers, for our businesses, and ultimately for all of California. I respectfully request an aye vote.
Thank you. Second witness.
Good afternoon. My name is Raymond Moon. My wife Martha and I run businesses in 2 cities that are affected by this E-Verify program that have incorporated it into their business license policy. We have approximately 20 employees between the 2 locations. However, it is a family-run business that's been in operation since 1978. We have 16 locations throughout Riverside and San Diego counties. And we have a total of about 150 employees within the family locations. So we are taco shops, the El Ranchito taco shops in San Diego and in Riverside counties. When we hire a new employee, we fill out the I-9, which is mandated by law. Since we're a small corporation, I am the human resource department. So I don't have time to go and get the extra training, and I don't have the funds to outsource that E-Verify program. And I haven't heard of any of the cities offering testimony or training for their E-Verify. It just puts another government hoop that we need to jump through. It seems like it's not enough that we work, we pay our taxes, we keep other people working to support and help their families. We help keep the economy moving along without having to worry about more government intrusion. I received a letter from the City of Temecula along with our business license renewal this year stating that all businesses will have to be registered with E-Verify in order to continue to do business in that city. I expect the City of Lake Elsinore will do the same later this year when my license comes up for renewal there. While I do not have a problem with the general idea of an electronic verification for eligibility to work, basically an electronic I-9, which is required by law, I do have major reservations when a municipality requires a business to implement a federal program that is voluntary by the federal program's own wording is voluntary as a condition of doing business in that city. That brings up another question of enforcement of that ordinance. In these economic times, the cities are looking for ways to save money, as is the state. It's just another layer of government bureaucracy that we don't need to pay for as taxpayers. The cities already have said that they don't have the money to do the enforcement. I don't know why they decided to enforce it to begin with. It also brings up a question of privacy for businesses. We cannot share information about our employees with anybody. This is the way it should be. There's enough phishing going on in the internet without the city governments getting into the act. The violation of privacy rights that the cities will be engaging in by forcing businesses to, in essence, turn over their employment records is, in my opinion, abhorrent and should not be tolerated. Most businesses in California are mom and pop, as we are, and deserve to have their privacy respected. They are guaranteed that privacy by the U.S. Constitution, but it seems to me that the municipalities are overstepping their boundaries in this regard. It seems that local governments want to get into the immigration enforcement business. That responsibility of enforcing current immigration policy lies with the federal government, not with local municipalities or with local law enforcement.
Mr. Moon,
yes, sir.
Respectfully, can you wrap it up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Many of the mandating cities cite that in these economic times, E-Verify will protect the U.S. worker. I don't agree with that assessment. What my wife and I have seen is nothing more than this as being another tool in the anti-immigrant tool chest in order to further their agenda. And we would respectfully request an aye vote.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Name and organization, please.
Jeanette Sanipatin with the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, a co-sponsor and strong support. Thank you. Alberto Gonzalez with the California Immigrant Policy Center, co-sponsoring strong support.
Caitlin Vega for the California Labor Federation, here in support.
In favor? Support?
Tricia Geringer with Agricultural Council of California, representing farmers from throughout the state, also in support.
Trudy Hughes with the California League of Food Processors, in support.
Crystal Jack on behalf of the California Grocers Association and the Nisei Farmers League, also in support.
Joseph Villalav on behalf of the Coalition for Human Immigrant Rights Los Angeles, strong support.
Mi nombre es Hortensia Muñoz, soy de la Organización Mujeres Unidas y estoy aquí cooperando.
She just said Mujeres Unidas y Activas in support. My name is Andrea Mercado, Mujeres Unidas y Activas, and the California Domestic Worker Coalition in support.
My name is Kit Miller. I'm with the Women of Silicon Valley Donors Network. We support this.
Patrick King on behalf of the California State Council of Labor is in support.
Cesar Diaz on behalf of the State Building and Construction Trades Council, also in support.
Shane Gussman on behalf of the Teamsters Unite here in the UFCW, in support.
Witnesses in opposition? Mariko, any questions for Paul?
Happy to move the bill, if I may, and with the comment that it's very nice to see an author be able to bring both the advocates and the industry together. We should do that more often.
Good point. I second your motion. So if we could do a roll call?
Swanson, Morel, Alejo, Allen, Furutani.
Yes.
Furutani, aye. Gurel, Yamada. Yamada, aye. Bill's on call.
It's on call.
Thank you.
People will come back, Paul, to vote. Yeah, I have to run to do a presentation on my own bill. Can we still do it with one person? Okay. Ms. Mitchell, my apologies. I got called to do my bill in another committee. Mariko, I'm leaving it with you. I'll hand it to you.
Move the bill and get your vote before you leave.
They're waiting on me. You will have my vote, though.
It's been an interesting day.
Yes, it has.
Ms. Mitchell, welcome, and
very much.
please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair and all staff. I'm pleased to bring AB 735 before you today, a measure to give a hand up to our foster care youth. As many of you know, foster care youth suffer from staggering rates of poverty, unfortunately, and homelessness once they emancipate out of the program. This is largely attributable to both their lack of ongoing parental support, as well as their being severed from the state support when they emancipate out of the program when they turn currently 18. Only 50% of foster youth graduate from high school, compared with 75% of their peers who are not a part of the public system. The unemployment rate among foster youth is staggering. 60% of former foster youth are unemployed at age 19, compared to 42% of their peers with no history in foster care. This bill is a measure that gives priority application status to current or former foster youth who apply for student assistant and intern positions within state departments. These positions are a wonderful gateway to stable employment with good wages and benefits. It makes sense that the state, who has acted on the children's behalf by removing them from their homes and act as their quote-unquote parent, should give first priority to these vulnerable young adults when hiring for student assistant positions. Please join the Children's Advocacy Institute, the California Youth Connection, and the Youth Law Center and others in supporting this common sense measure. I have several witnesses here to testify in support.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Please proceed. You can self-identify, and two witnesses. And
hi, good afternoon. Ed Howard with the Children's Advocacy Institute, in strong support of this bill. They're literally children of the state. This is the least we can do to give them a leg up on life. Ask for your aye vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kathy Sunderling with the County Welfare Directors Association, also in support. This bill is a really good complement to AB 12, the bill passed last year to extend foster care to 19, then 20 and 21 starting next year. One of the provisions is that in order to participate in that extension, the youth need to be in school or working or in a training program. So this dovetails perfectly with that. These will be qualified positions that they could use in order to meet those requirements. So we urge your support.
Thank you.
Libby Sanchez on behalf of Laborers Local 777 and 792, in strong support for the reasons previously stated.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support.
Helen Roth Dowden, Aspira, large foster family agency, in support.
Thank you. Any additional witnesses in support? Any witnesses in opposition? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, since I appear to be the only committee member here to ask questions or make a comment, maybe that's a good thing. I am certainly proud to support this effort. I have served on the Select Committee on Foster Care in previous years and look forward to the Foster Youth Day at the Capitol. So with that, I'm happy to bring a motion forward, but there's no one here to second it. So we will raise the issue when we have an additional member, and I believe that's pretty much what we can do at this point.
That's all we can do. Thank you very much.
Right.
We'll go out and try to identify some members and
find some members,
get them in here to vote for the bill.
I have to go to Ag as well. So.
Got you. Thank you very much for hearing
Thank
the bill.
you for
Appreciate
your
it.
advocacy in this area.
Thank you.
Look forward to continuing to work with you. All right. Well, okay. Oh, there's Mr. Hernandez. Well, bienvenidos. Welcome to the Labor and Employment Committee. I think I'm it, so please proceed with your presentation, and we'll do our very best.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I really
you're
appreciate
better today.
the opportunity. I present to you today AB 514, a bill that will ensure prevailing wages will be paid to workers hauling refuse from construction sites. Assembly Bill 302 Floyd of 2001 expanded the term public works to include the hauling of refuse from a public work site to an outside disposal location, and requires all workers employed on public work sites to be paid prevailing wages for hauling the refuse off construction sites. Current law guarantees the payment of a prevailing wage for transporting refuse from public work sites to off-site locations. However, workers are not receiving their due wages as a result of loopholes existing in law. Enforcing previous laws has been increasingly difficult since the term refuse has not been clearly defined in law. Currently, a prevailing wage is guaranteed to workers who transport debris and discarded materials of no monetary value. To avoid paying a prevailing wage, employers place a menial monetary value to debris, sometimes as low as $1, for an entire load of refuse. Another tactic used to mitigate existing statute is to hire owner-operated third-party haulers who are exempt from prevailing wage law. These are fraudulent, yet technically legal ways for employers to fraudulently cut corners and prevent workers from getting their due salaries, and dismisses the integrity of existing law. To combat these issues, AB 514 will clarify California's prevailing wage law by defining refuse to include materials that are not publicly traded commodities. This measure will close the loopholes in existing law and will ensure refuse haulers are paid their proper wages. Here to testify in support are Stu Helfer on behalf of the Teamsters Local 853 and Cesar Diaz on behalf of California State Building and Construction Trades Council of California, and Shane Guzman on behalf of California Teamsters.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Please proceed.
Good afternoon. Stu Helfer with Teamsters Local 853. Wonderful sunny day here in Sacramento today.
Yes.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak on this matter. And this is something that I've been following for approximately the last 7 to 8 years, having come from the construction industry myself. And during that time period, I've seen some very creative shenanigans, for lack of a better term, in an attempt to evade and circumvent prevailing wage requirements. As you probably know, and has been discussed, California's prevailing wage law is a statute put in the law to give equal and a correct payment to those working in the execution of a public works contract. In the past 7 years, I've seen so many different abuses of it. I've heard excuses such as, it's not our job, we're only helping out on it. Obviously, they're not doing it for free. I've heard various other schemes, such as the use of third parties, fourth parties, fifth parties to try to evade it. And most recently, I've heard the excuse that the material being hauled from a public works job is not refuse. Just going on today, I've heard of another scheme going on where the individuals that are hauling the material from the public works site back to a quarry, where the broker or the trucking company is given a credit for hauling that work rather than actual payment to the individuals. They say the credit is something of value, hence it's not refuse. Well, that type of credit doesn't buy any groceries for the individuals that are doing the work. Given all these escape clauses, I urge that the legislature in the state of California do something to close up these loopholes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next witness. Mr.
Madam
Diaz.
Chair, Cesar Diaz with the State Building and Construction Trades Council. Just make it short. We strongly urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Additional witnesses in support.
Shane Gussman on behalf of the California Teamsters Public Affairs Council. When we did this bill, sponsored this bill in 1999, we thought we clarified that hauling refuse from a public work site was prevailing wage work. I think at the time we underestimated the ability of unscrupulous contractors to game the system. Hopefully this will close the loophole, and we thank the author for presenting the bill.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support. Name an organization or, well, since we're such a friendly crowd here, I don't know if you have additional items.
Mitch Seaman, California Labor Federation, in strong support.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support. Any witnesses in opposition? Seeing none. Mr. Hernandez, would you like to close? I do have a comment, but if you'd like to close.
Ms. Yamada, this AB 514 will close a loophole in prevailing wage law, and we believe will honor the work of folks that are moving refuse here in California.
Thank you very much. Well, I just wanted to say that when I was on the Yolo County Board of Supervisors and also worked in Yolo County for 9 years, the landfill was in my district. So I was the landfill lady, or, I don't know if we call it the dump sometimes. And also now I have Potrero Hills in the other part of my district, which is a subject of another discussion at the moment. But I think to protect those who do the hardest labor in our society is always very important, and justice for janitors all the way up. So I'd be happy to also support your bill when we have sufficient members to have a motion and a second.
Great.
So thank you very much for bringing this bill
I
forward.
appreciate your consideration and your support. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. Well, Madam Secretary, Mr. Consultant, seeing no further members here, is anyone? Okay. We understand that Mr. Lara is on his way. And so we will see, this is kind of an interesting day, isn't it? Or all days are interesting. So we will just, maybe we'll just hang out for a moment or two, take a little breather. Everyone, just remember, you should just take deep breaths. Okay, relax. Think about the sunny day outside that we're not a part of. I would be happy to chair, but I have no author, and I have a bill to present in local gov, and I have to run the Okay, because I have a chair of the board of supervisors. Okay. No, he's not here. Should we recess? Okay. Oh, this hearing is going to be in recess, at least for, well, until the chair returns, chair or another member. I apologize. We all have other bills to present. So just hang tight and someone will return shortly. Thank you. Should I give a time certain? We can't.
Okay, we're going to bring the committee out of recess, and we're going to start with some bills to keep the process moving. And great. So we'll hear Mr. Law. Mr. Morrell, we're just going to hear from Mr. Law before I present on the other bills. And you have 3 bills.
Yes. Thanks.
AB 592.
Great.
That what?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. AB 592 will clarify that interference with an employee's right to take leave under the Pregnancy Disability Leave Law, PDL, and the California Family Rights Act, CFRA, is prohibited. Clarity is needed to ensure workers' rights are protected in California. As written in California's PDL and CFRA, do not specifically recognize interference with an employee's right to leave as a basis of liability. As a result, some courts have found that an employer who interferes with an employee's right to take protected leave is not in violation of the law. This has resulted in inconsistent decisions and confusion for employees and employers alike. For example, an employer who wrote up a woman for taking protective leave was recently found to have interfered with her right to leave, yet was not found liable. Such inconsistency impairs a mother's ability to take the leave. AB 592 will bring California's pregnancy and family medical leave laws in line with the federal standard by clarifying that interference is a basis of liability. It will minimize confusion for employers and employees alike by conforming our state pregnancy and medical leave laws to the federal standard of the Family Medical Leave Act, FMLA. This will not only help avoid potential litigation, but also afford workers the rights intended by California law. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay, thank you. Witness in support.
Thank you. My name is Sarah Schler. I'm here on behalf of SELA, who's supporting this as well. I was the individual who handled the recent case of Harris versus Cash Call, where it was a bench trial in Orange County. The court specifically found that the employer had hindered and interfered with Ms. Harris's right to take pregnancy leave because she was written up for taking protected leaves of absence. Unfortunately, the trial court went on to say that interference with leave is not a basis for liability under the California Family Rights Act or under the Pregnancy Disability Leave Law. I believe this is an incorrect interpretation of the law, but I think that that's why clarity is needed and why this bill is so important. In addition to Ms. Harris's situation, my office kind of has a niche practice where I handle primarily pregnancy discrimination cases. I have numerous women call me on a regular basis because their employers don't give them the proper information that they need to take the leave that they're entitled to under California law, or who have been threatened with lack of promotion, demotion, decrease in pay, change in hours if they choose to take leave. And what happens is some of these women, rather than risk their jobs and the ability to support the child that they will have in a few months, simply won't take the leave that they need to attend doctor's appointments, putting their own risk and the risk of their unborn child, putting their own health and the health of their unborn child at risk rather than take the risk of losing their jobs. And so for those reasons, I respectfully request your aye vote. Thank you.
Okay, witness in support.
Sarah Phlox on behalf of the California Labor Federation. In strong support of this bill, we feel like it clarifies an important provision of the state pregnancy disability law. And without this clarification, many workers, especially low-wage workers, are going to be left vulnerable to various forms of interference from their employer, ranging from harassment to discipline to reduced hours to whatever kind of interference prevents them from exercising their rights, and yet those employers are not going to be held liable. So this bill will clarify that. It will extend important protections to women who want to exercise their right to take pregnancy leave. So we would respectfully urge an aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other witnesses, organizations in support.
Stephanie Roberson on behalf of the California Nurses Association, also in support.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in support?
Move the bill.
Okay, the bill's been moved and seconded. Any other questions by members of the committee? Okay, hearing none, we'd like to close.
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much. Call the roll, please.
Swanson.
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel. Morel, no. Alejo.
Yes.
Alejo, aye. Allen. Furtani. Gurel, Yamada.
Okay, bill's on call. Your next bill?
1115?
Yes, AB 1150.
Great. Mr. Chair and members, the purpose of AB 1115 is to ensure that employment training providers who receive Federal Workforce Investment Act dollars provide high-quality training services. Specifically, AB 1115 would establish consistent employment training statewide standards, increase accountability, and enhance public access to employment training programs and employment training data. The most important goal for dislocated and unemployed workers is to get back to work and regain a stable source of income and good wages. As a condition of receiving federal workforce funding, the Workforce Investment Act of 1998 mandates the state to establish minimum eligibility criteria for employment training providers. California, however, has received a waiver on this mandate, creating and reinforcing a fragmented employment training system that lacks appropriate state accountability for ensuring quality and the delivery of employment training that meets the needs of both employers and workers. AB 1115 will help ensure that every dollar of federal workforce funding is invested in high-quality employment services that connect workers to pathways to good jobs. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Move the bill.
Bill is moved and properly second. Witnesses in support.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Mitch Seaman with the California Labor Federation. And we're co-sponsors of this bill. It's one of our 3 bills to improve the WIA system. And the eligible training provider list is a key component of it for a few reasons, but mainly because it helps the unemployed learn more about what's out there and what their options are and how they can become reconnected to the workforce, especially after a long stretch of unemployment. But the problem is that the local WIBs currently don't have to consider any measure of performance in determining who makes it onto that list. And so essentially really all they have to do is fill out a form. The standards vary from one WIB to the next, but nothing really requires the local WIBs consider anything beyond the authorization to operate and approval authority, which we think pretty clearly runs the risk of extremely scarce WIA dollars going to either inadequate training or training for jobs that simply don't exist. And we feel that's just something we can't afford to do. It's not fair to workers and it's not fair to employers. Sure. What the bill does is implement an open process to fix this, where the state WIB would work in concert with the local WIBs to figure out how those performance measures could then be worked into the system in a way that's fair to everybody. So it requires things such as an analysis of program completion rates, the percentage of placements on unsubsidized employment, the wages at placement, the rates of licensure, and things like that that we think are pretty critical measurements to make sure that the money is actually going to effective training programs. And for that, we ask for an aye vote.
Okay. Statement of support.
Cynthia Leon with the California Manufacturers and Technology Association. We're glad to support this bill as well as the other 2 bills that the Labor Federation has put forward. We believe that it's now important to revisit the kind of standards that the workforce investment boards meet. And this is one component of it, making sure that the training that our employees receive is in fact effective. One of the criteria is to ensure that once they have this training, they actually have a job, tracking that information. Because I think it's really important that we recognize that there has to be a working relationship between the local workforce investment boards and the businesses in their communities, because we do have jobs available, but we don't have the trained workforce. So we really appreciate the author's efforts on this bill, and we look forward to continue working with them on it.
And it's great. And it's great that the manufacturers and labor in agreement on this one. For a change.
The picture.
Thank you. Thank you for my statement.
Yeah.
I leave the committee for a few minutes and they just freelance.
That's it.
I don't know what Mr. Ralph did to him when I was anyway. Anyway, in support.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members, Cesar Diaz on behalf of the State Building and Construction Trades Council. As was mentioned before, quality standards are very important. They're important to the apprenticeship programs that our joint labor management committees run. Right now, there's about 40% unemployment in the construction trades statewide. Some areas are much higher. The state is investing millions of dollars in training individuals for the economy, the new green economy, the RPS standard, energy efficiency projects. We want to ensure that money is invested wisely by partnering with programs that actually graduate apprentices and that have quality standards already in a history of putting people back to work. So for those reasons, we urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. And now statements in support.
Certainly. Patrick Henning on behalf of the California State Council of Labor is in support.
Thank you so much. Anyone else in support? In opposition? Okay. Seeing none. Question.
Mr. Chairman, in the analysis, it points out that there was the question over the term joint apprenticeship programs and whether the issue of unilateral or employer-sponsored apprenticeship programs, that problem would be addressed. And I was asking the question if that had been taken up as author's amendments.
Go ahead, Mr. Chair, if I can address that concern. I have spoken with Ms. Broyles about that particular issue, and I think there's an opportunity to work around that and create an amendment that addresses our concern with quality programs and her concern with allowing unilateral programs to also be placed on the ETPL list. So we'll be working together on that.
And I commit to, Mr. Chairman, work with the opposition to find some resolution.
Well, thank you very much. I think it is important for us to bring standards and uniformity that's offered in this bill. So would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay, we need a motion. Motion is second. All right, no other questions. Please call the roll.
Swanson?
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel? Morel abstaining. Alejo?
Aye.
Alejo, aye. Allen? Bertani? Bertani, aye. Grell, Yamada? Yamada, aye. That bill is.
Okay, that bill has enough votes to get up. And now 13?
Yes.
Your last bill.
For working folks, Luis. Gonna work. Mr. Chair, members, AB 1313 will provide additional public transparency of vital information on how government is working for those it was meant to protect. Specifically, AB 1313 will require the Agriculture Labor Relations Board and its General Counsel to publish on the board's website certain information in addition to information that is already required to publish regarding each open case. AB 1313 will require the board and its general counsel to publish information that includes the name of the case, the nature of the case, the date of the case that was opened, the status of the case, and the expected developments in each case, as well as the anticipated timeline of resolution of the case. And I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Has the bill been moved? Is there a second? Second bill. And okay, witness in support. Oh. Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Hearing none, we'd like to close.
Respectfully ask for your aye vote, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Please call roll.
Swanson?
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel? No. Morel, no. Alejo?
Aye.
Alejo, aye. Allen? Furtani? Aye. Furtani, aye. Gurel, Yamada? Bill's on call.
The bill's on call.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Campos has 3 bills.
Mr. Campos, do you have 3 bills, I believe? AB 848.
Thank you. I'm going to present that one
Thank
first.
you so much.
Members, as you all know, an apprenticeship is a combination of an on-the-job training and related supplemental instruction in which workers can learn the practical and theoretical aspects of a building trades craft. Each state-approved apprenticeship programs must have a formal agreement with a local education agency. While some 2-year colleges offer credit for the education received in the apprenticeship program, The number of colleges offering this credit is not readily accessible. This bill would provide data identifying how each college provides credits for apprenticeship. This will allow the improvement and uniformity of credit allocations. Today, I have Cesar Diaz from the State Building Trades as one of my witnesses, along with a couple more. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay. The bill's been moved. Is there a second? And properly seconded. Yes. Statement of support, please.
Mr. Chair, members, Cesar Diaz, on behalf of the State Building and Construction Trades Council. There's, at any given time, about 66,000 apprentices statewide. Most of them are in joint labor management programs. These programs run typically 3 to 5 years. There's thousands of hours of on-the-job training plus thousands of hours of classroom training, what's known as related supplemental instruction. Every apprenticeship program must have a partnership with a local education agency. Typically that involves a community college. A lot of the curriculum that's developed and is learned by these apprentices oftentimes is available for credit towards a higher education certificate, sort of a associate's degree. The information that will be collected by this bill will help us determine which colleges are doing this and to look at the uniformity issue, whether there should be a standard statewide or which colleges are actually offering it and which ones are not. That will be helpful for the apprentice, because not only is it's a very dangerous industry, so they retire early, and at age 55 they can have accumulated credit towards looking for a degree after, and perhaps they could become teachers, apprenticeship instructors, and when we get career technical education back in the schools, they can go back and teach and utilize their skills and teach others about the craft. So for those reasons, we urge your support.
Thank you. Statement of support, please.
Yes, Neil Struthers, Building Trades Council, Santa Clara County, also a member of the California Apprenticeship Council. I concur with what Cesar said. Additionally, I think it's important to understand that the Obama administration has a very ambitious goal to increase the number of degrees in this country exponentially. And California could benefit greatly from that. Unfortunately, we don't have a mechanism to measure the number of degrees that are being conferred to apprentices in this state. And this state has more apprentices than any other state in this country, probably collectively more than all the other states. And this is just basic common sense to at least start collecting the data on who grants credit and who does not, so we can have some uniform application. And I think that additionally opens up the opportunity to get a significant amount of federal funding that I suspect will follow this initiative by the Obama administration.
Patrick Henning, on behalf of the California State Council of Labor, and support this measure, adds some accountability to our apprenticeship system, and for that reason we support it.
Thank you very much.
Mitch Seaman, California Labor Federation. Just to concur with the comments of previous panelists, we think that the information gathered by this bill will be essential in assessing the effectiveness of different apprenticeship programs, and we urge your support.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other statements of support? Statements of opposition?
I seem to be falling into that odd middle ground today. Again, Mr. Chairman, Julianne Broyles here on behalf of Associated Builders and Contractors.
Not a problem. We like seeing you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Actually, to provide the, I hopefully good news that Associated Builders and Contractors is removing their opposition to AB 848 with discussions both with our members and with the proponents of the bill. We think that this is a good way to collect the information as long as that's as far as it goes. We would not want to see, of course, down the line a requirement that all, of course, those who are teaching apprenticeship programs be credentialed. We think that would actually deter availability. So for the reasons right now, we're able to remove our opposition.
Okay, thank you. Any other statements in opposition? Okay, seeing none. Yes, Mr. Fruitani.
Thank you very much, Chairman Swanson. Just real quickly, Ms. Campos, I really commend you for bringing this bill forward. In my work in the area of career tech ed as well, this ability to figure out who's doing what is really critical. I remember in our locale we have the IBEW that does a great apprenticeship program, of course, around electricians. So when their cohort opens up, hundreds of people line up to be a part of the program. When they get inside and get tested, it cuts way back in terms of who can do what. So the question usually is about the algebra part of the test, and then the question is where can the student that fails that part of the test get their algebra work done so they can be able to pass it the next time. IBEW cannot start teaching algebra. So having a partnership, as you have in your bill, with the local community college makes all the sense in the world. Adult school for ESL makes all the sense in the world. And then being able to document how many are going through the program, how many continue their education. This is an excellent bill. I really commend you for it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions by the committee? Would you like to close?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay. I think it's a very good bill. Please call the roll.
Swanson?
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel? Aye. Morel, aye. Alejo? Allen? Furtani?
Aye.
Furtani, aye. Gurel? Yamada? Aye. Bill is out.
Okay, there's enough votes to get out. We leave the bill on call for absent members. Your next bill.
Thank you. So at this point, I'd like to present AB 1401. I hope you have that one in front of you.
Yes. AB 1401.
Today I'm presenting AB 1401, which will provide efficiency and entertainment work permits for minors by allowing the Labor Commission to issue temporary work permits online. In addition to the work permit issued by schools, children performers must have an entertainment work permit issued by the Labor Commissioner. Currently, a paper application must be completed and sent to the Labor Commissioner's office by mail, and a work permit is mailed back to the applicant. This process takes up to 2 weeks to complete, and the delay can deny some child performers the ability to accept a job. Often parents will obtain an entertainment work permit prior to even taking their child to the audition, just in case the child lands a role. This results in an inefficient and inexpensive work volume for the Labor Commissioner's office, who issues over 70,000 work permits a year, which is many times more than the number of children working. Under AB 1401, parents would be able to apply for the child's first permit online. A temporary work permit would be granted immediately. AB 1401 will benefit parents who can't wait to apply for a permit until their child has a job. The Labor Commissioner, who will save many hours of work, and the state of California, which will save many currently wasted dollars. The temporary permit is valid for 10 days, 10 working days, time to allow the parents to submit the required documents with their permit renewal application, including school records, medical clearance to work, establishing a Kogan Block Trust bank account. This bill allows the Labor Commissioner to set a fee for issuing the temporary permit, but it could not be more than $50. This fee is tax deductible, so working actors can get reimbursed for it. The permit would be issued immediately upon receipt of the payment and completed upon online application. What I believe that this is very good for is that it creates time efficiency and it saves money. It also will allow parents to be able to opt in to do this or opt not to do it. It is voluntarily, so it's more of a convenience. With me right now, I have Tim Lynch, who will be my witness.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
Tim Lynch, representing the Screen Actors Guild, and this issue actually came to light about 4 years ago in under a Governor Schwarzenegger proposal to move the work permit process down to the local school district level. It was a proposal we did not agree with and set off to find a better way to process the entertainment work permits for children. As the author pointed out, we discovered through that process that the labor agency is processing somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 70,000 paper permits per year, which in essence makes them a stamping agency, not an enforcement agency. We think this bill brings efficiency to the system, will make the work permit process faster, and will result in issuance of permits that are being used rather than just being issued for the sake of being issued. And we ask for your support.
Thank you. Other statements in support? Statements in opposition? Seeing none, any questions by the committee? We do need a motion. It's been moved and seconded. Would you like to close?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay, please call the roll.
Swanson?
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel? Morel, no. Alejo, Allen? Aye. Allen, aye. Furtani?
Aye.
Furtani, aye. Gurel, Yamada? Yamada, aye.
Okay. Okay, the bill has enough votes to get out. We'll leave it open for the absent members. You have one final bill.
I do, thank you, and I apologize for my voice, but it's important for me to be here to present these bills.
Yes, okay.
Today I'm presenting AB 1393 to allow persons who issue film location permits to tell the Labor Commissioner whether children will be working at a particular film location. The purpose of the bill is to provide statutory authority for voluntary information sharing between those who know where the films are being shot and the Labor Commissioner's Division of Labor Standard Enforcement. The information sharing will help DLSE enforce child welfare laws by letting them know where children are actually working. In addition to work permits issued by schools, children performers must have an entertainment work permit issued by the Labor Commissioner. The law also requires employers to have a permit to employ minors and for the employer to keep copies of the permit at the work site. The Labor Commission may inspect all work permits and workplaces. However, in television and movies, where the workplace is a remote location and not a sound stage, the DLSE has no way to know where the children are. This presents an obvious problem for their ability to enforce child labor laws. How can you inspect a workplace if you don't know where it is? AB 1393 would solve the problem by simply allowing any film location permit office to disclose whether minors will be working on the location. Employers have an existing duty to make this information available to the Labor Commissioner. AB 1393 extends this duty to the film permit agencies while providing proper safeguards and guidelines for the use of the information. AB 1393 makes it clear that there is no duty to collect or keep personal information at film permits office, limits the use of information by DLSE in order to protect the privacy of the minor. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay, is there a witness in support?
Not at this time.
Okay, witness in opposition. Okay, Chair would entertain a motion.
Move the bill.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Would you like to close?
I respectfully ask your aye vote.
Thank you very much. Please call the roll.
Swanson.
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel? Morel, no. Alejo, Allen? Aye. Allen, aye. Furtani?
Aye.
Furtani, aye. Gurel, Yamada? Yamada, aye.
Okay, we have enough votes for the bill to be out. We're going to now bring up the consent calendar.
Move it, please.
Make sure it's moved. Do a second. It's been moved and seconded. Okay, please call the roll. When you're ready.
Get to that. AB 1106 and AB 1398. Consent calendar, Swanson.
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel? Morel, aye. Alejo? Allen? Aye. Allen, aye. Furtani?
Aye.
Furtani, aye. Gurel? Yamada? Yamada, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. I think, Mr. Furtani, you have a bill?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chairman Swanson and members of the Labor Committee. What I have before you is AB 1310, which is to develop a strategic plan for career technical education and workforce development. AB 1310 directs the state's agencies responsible for workforce development to develop one single strategic plan for connecting the delivery of education and workforce development in the state. These agencies are the Secretary of Labor and Workforce Development, the California Workforce Investment Board, the California Community Colleges, Office of the Chancellor, and the California Community College Board of Governors, the State Department of Education, and the California Post-Secondary Education Commission, and it requires that a strategic plan include the following. Unfortunately, our current method of job training has been developed as a patchwork of different programs, of which in many circumstances receive state and federal dollars for the same task to aid the same population. Mr. Chairman, may I show a visual aid?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Just to give you an idea, we have been following the dollars relative to funding for job training, workforce development, and career education. It's all over the place. A lot of different organizations get dollars, but one thing they have in common is everybody's being cut. So in this context of losing resources, the key is to maximize what's left by working together in collaboration, and that's what 1310 asks for. To strengthen this coordination between community colleges, adult school, high school, career technical programs, regional occupation centers, partnership academies, workforce investment boards, and a variety of public, private, nonprofit training centers. We want to bring them together to better serve displaced workers. In these tough economic times, we need to ensure that we are effectively using our state and federal dollars for career training. We need to break down some of the bureaucracy and find more efficient methods of delivering career technical education and workforce development. I'm open to questions and ask for an aye vote.
Move the bill.
Do we have any? Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Murrow.
Yeah, I like the bill. My thing is the fiscal impact says unknown. That would be my only thing hanging over my head.
Yes, Mr. Morrell, the purpose of the bill is to bring these different groups, as I showed you on the chart, that have different funding sources, and to talk about how to maximize those existing funding sources so that we can have a consistent, comprehensive program for adult education, career technical training. So the dollars exist already.
So it wouldn't cost state any more money?
No.
Okay.
To maximize what we do have already.
Thank you. Any other questions, Mr. Morrell? Okay. With that, and seeing no other questions, we call the roll.
Swanson.
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel.
Aye.
Morel, aye. Alejo. Allen. Aye. Allen, aye. Furtani.
Aye.
Furtani, aye. Gurel, Yamada. Yamada, aye.
Okay, thank you. That bill has no votes. Get out.
Thank you.
We'll leave it open for absent members. We're gonna take do some housekeeping here. We have 3 bills that need motions. Can you give me the motion? Give me the bill.
AB 514, item number 4.
Okay, AB 514, Hernandez.
Move the bill.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Swanson.
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel. Morel, no. Alejo. Allen. Allen, aye. Furtani.
Aye.
Furtani, aye. Gurel, Yamada. Yamada, aye. That bill
And
is
what's the next one?
item number 6.
AB
735 needs motions.
Okay, item 6, AB 735, Metro. It needs a motion, falsely used.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Please call the roll.
Swanson.
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel. Aye. Morel, aye. Alejo. Allen. Aye. Allen, aye. Furtani.
Aye.
Furtani, aye. Gurel, Yamada. Yamada, aye.
Okay. And
then AB 766.
what number?
Amani, number 7.
Number 7, AB 766, Labor Law Enforcement, Monning.
We need a motion.
I need a motion. It's been moved and properly seconded. Please call the roll.
Swanson.
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel. Abstain. Morel, abstain. Alejo. Allen. Aye. Allen, aye. Furtani.
Aye.
Furtani, aye. Gurel, Yamada. Yamada, aye. That bill is out.
Okay, and now we're lifting calls. Right?
If you want to lift the calls, we can lift the calls.
Yeah, we're going to lift the call right now just to sort of move through. What's the first bill?
AB 302, Garrick. Current vote is 2-2.
Number, what number?
It's item number 3.
Okay. And chair voted no.
Chair voted no.
Okay, and lift call to absent members.
Alejo. Allen. No. Allen, no. Okay, so
Is that?
that goes
Okay,
back
then
on.
move it. We put that back on call.
Item number 5, AB 592.
AB 592. We'll lift the call for absent members. Chair voted aye.
Allen? Allen, aye. Furtani?
Aye.
Furtani, aye. Gurel? Yamada? Yamada, aye. That bill.
Okay. The next bill.
Next bill is AB 830, number 8.
AB 830, number 8. Lift the call. The chair votes no.
Alejo?
Okay. Okay. We'll leave the bill on call for Mr. Alejo. Any other bills to be?
Item number 10, AB 923.
Okay, we'll lift the call on AB 923. Chair votes aye.
Swanson?
Swanson,
Swanson, aye. Morel? No. Morel, no. Alejo? Yamada? Yamada, aye. That bill is out.
That bill has no vote to get out. Is that it?
Item number 16, 1236.
Item 16, 1236. Fong, lift the call. Chair votes aye.
Swanson?
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel? No. Morel, no. Alejo? Allen? Aye. Allen, aye. Grill?
Okay.
Out.
Any other?
And then AB 1313, item number 18.
Item number
18.
18, 1313. Chair votes aye. Lift the call.
Allen? Aye. Allen, aye. Grill? Yamada? Aye. Yamada, aye.
Is that, the bill has enough votes to get out. We'll leave it open for absent members. Mr. Morrell, we're going to give you the chair. I'm going to testify on my bills if I can. Oh. AB 950 to start. The no. Is that right? I'm presenting AB 950 for Speaker Perez. On behalf of Speaker Perez, I'm pleased to present Assembly Bill 950, the Truck Driver Employment and Public Safety Protection Act. As we all know, our ports are one of California's most valuable engines of economic growth and prosperity, and AB 950 will make sure that the vitality and the activity at our ports are conducted safely by trucking companies that are playing by the rules. AB 950 will also help get the state's fiscal house in order by allowing for the collection of millions of dollars in payroll taxes that unscrupulous trucking companies can dodge by illegally misclassifying their drivers. This bill will curb the widespread misclassification of port drivers as contractors and ensure that these skilled professionals who are entitled to a paycheck that supports their family have access to the same basic workplace standards that all California workers receive: a guaranteed minimum wage, worker compensation, unemployment and disability insurance, employer contributions to Social Security, and the occupational health and safety protections due all of our employees. Truck drivers clock between 60 and 70 hours a week and are responsible for hauling essential consumer products in container rigs weighing up to 80,000 pounds through California's marine terminals, residential streets, and public roadways. They often transport overweight loads and hazardous material. AB 950 will provide the whistleblower protections this workforce currently lacks to report safety concerns such as insufficient permits, faulty equipment, or violation of the work hour limit set by the Department of Transportation without fear of retaliation or termination. The Speaker and I share the belief that this is the legislature's urgent duty to obligation to put a stop to tax evasion and worker exploitation and not wait for more court appeals and delays on a separate port policy. Enough is enough, and the Speaker asks for your aye vote. I ask my witnesses to self-introduce. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman and members, Barry Broad on behalf of the Teamsters. This committee, under I think 3 different chairs, transportation committees of both houses under 2 different chairs, have held special investigative hearings of the port driver situation. It is a unique situation, unlike anything else in the state, and has been a constant problem for about 30 years, and the situation has not improved. It's unique in this regard. These drivers, who were once all employees, were overnight turned into independent contractors. They went into business, though not on their own volition, against their will. It's possible to go into business without wanting to go into business, and it's also possible that if you don't want to be in business, you can force to be in business. They're one-truck operators. They have no employees. They have no business license. They cannot haul freight for any shipper legally. It's illegal for them to haul freight for any shipper. They compete directly in the labor market. They do not compete with other businesses in the trucking industry. The situation has got worse in a way because of efforts to make things better. The ports have decided that because these drivers cannot afford to buy their own trucks, and they're older and older, gross polluting vehicles, that they would buy trucks for them, but not give them to them. They would essentially give them to the overlying motor carriers who hire them. These are motor carriers that generally have no employees of their own, have no trucks, have no terminals. Frequently, when there are accidents, they just disappear. They have no insurance. They have nothing. They work on a piece rate basis. These drivers, they get a piece of the amount of money that's paid by a shipper to haul that container 50 miles or whatever to the next inbound place from the port, and they typically buy their vehicle through lease arrangements, which they have to have from the trucking company that they work for, who also frequently sell them fuel, frequently sell them insurance, frequently sell them even workers' comp insurance, which is illegal.
30 seconds.
In getting these vehicles for the overlying carriers, they are now limited, so they cannot take the truck outside of the port. They can only work in the port. So now they can only work in the port, in which they can never haul any freight for anyone, and they can never. So they're stuck in a kind of cycle of essentially they're sharecroppers on wheels. I will say one thing. The opponents have said if these drivers wanted to be employees, then they could be employees. Thousands of them have signed petitions saying we want to be employees. We do not want to be in business for ourselves. And if the trucking industry is honest, then they will come forward and say, then we'll turn them instantly back into employees tomorrow, because they don't want to be in business for themselves. And even in America, I don't think you can be forced to go into business for yourself.
Thank you. And you know, we're trying to keep it 3 minutes, and
I understand.
3 on each side.
Important bill.
A lot of bills. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, Caitlin Vega for the California Labor Federation, also here in support. We have been dealing with the issue of misclassification of workers as independent contractors, increasingly seeing it throughout the industries in California. It was once a model that was very isolated. We are now seeing it in many different job sites, and we see it as one of the greatest threats to workers and to workers' rights that we face. Once a worker is misclassified, they lose all of their rights as an employee. There is no case study more persuasive, I think, than what has happened to the port truck drivers. They have none of the benefits of being employees, and yet they have none of the benefits of truly independent business people. They are given schedules. They are told how to do their jobs. They are essentially trapped in this situation with no alternative, no ability to operate independently, and no ability to change the conditions in which they work. And so we think that it's a serious problem across the board, but probably nowhere as serious as what we see happening to port truck drivers. And so we consider this an extremely important bill for the labor protection of all workers. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members, thank you. Go ahead.
Buenas tardes, honorables señores del comité. Mi nombre es Manuel Rivas. Gracias por invitarme a hablar acerca de cómo ser un camionero en el puerto y vengo a apoyar la ley 950.
Good afternoon, esteemed members of the committee. My name is Manuel Rivas. Thank you for inviting me to speak about what it's like to be a port truck driver, and I come supporting AB 950.
He transportado cargas al puerto de Oakland por 21 años. Trabajé para las compañías Bridge Terminal Transportation por 4 años y también trabajé en la Shipper Transport Express por 5 años más y otras empresas.
I have hauled cargo in the Port of Oakland for 21 years. I have worked for the company's Bridge Terminal Transport for 4 years and also Shippers Transport Express for 5 years and various other companies.
Las compañías camioneras dicen que nosotros somos pequeñas compañías en vez de empleados, pero realmente empleados sin ningún derecho ni beneficio.
So the companies say that we are small businesses instead of employees, but really we are employees but without any benefits or rights.
Las nuevas reglas de contaminación empezaron el año pasado. Nosotros apoyamos las nuevas reglas para el aire limpio porque los humos del diésel nos están enfermando.
The new regulations around pollution started last year, and we support these new rules around clean air because the diesel fumes are making us sick.
Yo perdí mi trabajo en BTT porque mi camión estaba muy viejo y no cumplía los reglamentos. No pude aplicar para un nuevo camión o un préstamo porque mi crédito era muy mal. Muchos choferes están en la misma situación que yo. Si BTT me hubiese tratado como empleado, yo estaría trabajando todavía.
I lost my job in BTT because my truck was very old and did not comply with the regulations. I was unable to apply for a new truck or a loan because my credit was very bad. There are many truck drivers in the same situation as myself, and if BTT had treated me as an employee, I would still be working today.
Yo nunca tuve una oportunidad de elegir de ser empleado o contratista independiente. BTT me clasificó mal como un contratista independiente, pero ellos nunca pagaron impuestos por mí y yo nunca tuve un beneficio de desempleo como trabajadores que han sido suspendidos de trabajos. Ahora recibo ayuda del gobierno.
I never had the opportunity to choose between being an employee and being an independent contractor. BTT misclassified me as an independent contractor, but they never paid taxes for me. I never had unemployment insurance as other employees would who'd been laid off from their work. Right now, I'm receiving welfare.
Como chofer, no tengo control de mis cargas de trabajo. Tengo que pedirle trabajo al despachador. Ellos me dicen a dónde tengo que ir y cuándo. Ellos pagan por carga y no por hora.
As a truck driver, I have no control over my workload. I have to ask the dispatcher for work. They tell me where to go and when. They pay by the load, not by the hour.
En Shipper Transport Express, el chofer no recibe una lista de precios. Algunas veces las compañías bajan los precios sin decir nada. Nunca sabemos cuánto hemos ganado hasta recibir el cheque. Los choferes no pueden negociar los precios. Si el chofer rechaza una carga, la compañía tarda en darle más trabajo en el día o le dan los trabajos más baratos. Los choferes no podemos trabajar para otras compañías. Estamos esclavizados de estas compañías.
In Shippers Transport Express, the driver doesn't even receive a list of the rates. Sometimes the company lowers the rates without saying anything. We never know how much we've earned until we receive the check. The drivers cannot negotiate the rates. If a driver rejects a load, the company delays that day in giving you more work, or they give you the work that pays the least. The drivers cannot work for other companies. We're enslaved to these companies.
Algunas veces esperamos por 4 horas en los terminales para recoger una carga. Los choferes no reciben ningún pago por el tiempo de espera o si quedamos atrapados en el tráfico.
Sometimes we wait for 4 hours in the terminals to pick up a load. The drivers don't receive any wait time or if we get stuck in traffic.
Los choferes pagamos por el mantenimiento, aseguranza, combustible, registración, road tax y más. Las compañías no comparten el pago del seguro social. Nosotros tenemos que pagarlo todo.
The drivers pay for maintenance, insurance, diesel, registration, road tax, and more. The companies don't share in the payment of Social Security. We have to pay all of it.
You think we could move this? I've given us 7 minutes so far rather than the 3, because we've got a lot of bills today. Thank you.
We're going as quickly as we can.
He trabajado de 50 a 60 horas a la semana, algunas veces más. Después de todos los gastos, mi cheque usualmente era de $500 a la semana o menos antes de pagar mis impuestos.
I've worked 50 to 60 hours a week, sometimes more. After paying for my expenses, my check is usually about $500 a week or less before paying my taxes.
Yo sé que en el sur de California los choferes están rentando los camiones de las compañías, supuestamente con promesas de venta, pero es una mentira. Los pagos de los camiones son muy altos y los choferes tienen que dejar sus camiones porque no pueden hacer los pagos.
I know that in South California, the drivers are renting trucks supposedly as lease to own, but it's a lie. The truck payments are really high and the drivers have to leave their trucks because they can't make the payments.
Algunas compañías dicen que sus choferes ganan $100,000 al año en bruto y después de deducciones les quedan $60,000. ¿Realmente será cierto en esta economía que estamos?
So some companies are saying that drivers will gross $100,000 a year and net $60,000. But really, is that possible in this economy?
Dando los precios bajos y el tiempo que tenemos que esperar para recoger una carga, el driver es muy afortunado para hacer 2 o 3 viajes al día. La única manera que un chofer puede ganar esta cantidad es violando las leyes federales del tiempo de manejo.
Given the low rates and the time that we wait to pick up a load, a driver will be really fortunate to be able to make 2 or 3 trips a day. The only way to make that kind of money is to violate the federal laws around driving time.
1,250 choferes y yo del puerto de Oakland firmamos la demanda para nuestros derechos de empleados en el 2007. Choferes del sur de California están circulando una petición a las compañías camioneras que paren de negar sus derechos como empleados. Más de 1,000 choferes del sur de California ya han firmado esta petición. Me gustaría entregar estas primeras peticiones ya firmadas para un récord.
1,250 drivers and myself in the Port of Oakland signed a petition demanding our rights as employees in 2007. Drivers in Southern California are currently circulating a petition to the companies demanding that they stop denying their drivers their rights as employees. More than 1,000 drivers in Southern California have already signed this petition, and I'd like to enter into the record these initial petitions that have already been signed.
Señores del comité, yo quiero aire limpio para mí y mis 4 hijos y todo el vecindario de Oakland. Pero esto no va a pasar si las compañías siguen abusando de los choferes y negándose a comprar camiones limpios.
Members of the committee, I want clean air for myself, for my 4 children, and for the entire neighborhood. But this is not going to happen if the companies continue abusing drivers and refusing to pay for the new trucks.
Y que quede bien claro, nosotros no somos contratistas independientes. Nosotros no somos pequeñas compañías, no somos on operator, nosotros somos empleados quienes nos han negado nuestros derechos. Es tiempo de parar esta injusticia. Los problemas se arreglarán aprobando la ley AB 950 y yo en lo personal apoyo la ley. Gracias.
So, I want to make this really clear. We are not independent contractors. We are not small businesses. We are not owner-operators. We are employees whose rights have been denied. It's time to stop these injustices. The problems will be solved proving the law AB 950. And I personally support AB 950. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, if I would just ask, thank you for your patience. If we just make sure that the opposition receives the same amount of time, that would be fair. I think we have one short witness, and then that was, well, I believe. But,
and I will defer to the chair, the vice chair. I'm from out of town, so I don't know the procedure.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, members, Mr. Chair. Mr. Vice Chair. I'm the author of the Big Rig report, a recent report on the rampant abuses of safety and labor law in the port trucking industry and the basis of some of the information that you've heard here. I wrote that. I'm a co-author with a national expert in employment law from the National Employment Law Project and a noted authority in the logistics industry. For that report, we did interviews, in-depth, lengthy interviews with port truck drivers at ports across the country, including the ports of Oakland, Los Angeles, and Long Beach. We reviewed hundreds of their employment contracts, leases, handbooks, and other documents, and reviewed the dozens of studies that public authorities and community organizations have commissioned in the last several years out of their concern for the widespread operational safety and environmental problems in this industry. I won't go deeply into the findings. I know this committee has to go forward. What I can say is that what you have heard from these other witnesses do not represent isolated incidents or mere anecdote. They're standard industry practices. And it's those standard industry practices that led my colleagues and myself to conclude that port truck drivers industry-wide are misclassified. Put another way, this is an entire industry that is operating as if it is above the law. Because of that, the drivers themselves lack protections. They are, if they are injured on the job, if they are laid off, if there are any safety implications on the job, they are not covered. They are also, because the cost of the equipment is put on the drivers, they put thousands, around 20,000 unsafe, overweight, and polluting trucks on the roads of California every day. The state has a clear interest in dealing with both these safety and environmental problems. I would also note, from what I know about California budget finances, the United States Government Accounting Agent Office has estimated that companies save roughly 30% on their payroll taxes when they misclassify their employees. That number will be higher in California. The central problem, and the problem that AB 950 solves, is that current enforcement mechanisms have been wholly inadequate to address this problem. Port truck drivers are employees under the law. That has not stopped the industry from routinely denying them the rights they have as employees or failing to put proper taxes into the state coffers. AB 950 is a straightforward solution. It's common sense, and I would ask that you support it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. I didn't hear this witness identify himself. Did I miss it?
You may have, or I may have missed. My name is Paul Marvey. I'm from Seattle, Washington. I'm a member of the Coalition for Clean and Safe Ports. I'm also an author of one of the reports that have been submitted for the record.
Okay, other witnesses in support, name and affiliation only, please.
Marika Yoshihara with the California Employment Lawyers Association in support.
Valerie Lappin with the Oakland Coalition for Clean and Safe Ports. I support AB 950 strongly.
Sorry for my voice, but I'm very sick. My name is Porfirio Diaz. I'm a port truck driver, and I support AB 950.
Okay, witnesses in opposition, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, all of you that are here. I just wanted to take a few brief moments to discuss our opposition to AB 950 that bans owner-operators from California's ports. I do have with me a couple of witnesses who will, use the balance of the time, but I did want to offer a couple initial comments. First off, I wanted to thank Michael Shaw of the California Trucking Association. Thank you. I did want to thank the speaker for our positive conversations that we've had already to date on the issue of misclassification. We've agreed, with the Speaker that to the degree misclassification exists in trucking industry, particularly as it relates to port drayage, that we're willing to work with him on that issue, and that we can certainly work with them to address that critical component here, because our members who operate in accordance with the state's laws, as well as federal laws and local ordinances, certainly are not served by any operator who is out there trying to cheat the system. So we want to be very supportive of those efforts, and look forward to working with the Speaker as well as the good Assembly member here on addressing those issues. However, did want to raise a couple of points. I heard a lot of all, many, and most presented by the witnesses earlier in support of this bill, as well as throughout the arguments in favor of the bill and the analysis. And I think those are all very curious words to use, especially in this environment where those are rarely the cases. As many cases in the port drayage market, there are a number of different ways, different business models, and owner-operators play a significant role in that. In addition to that, one other argument that's been put forward is that somehow owner-operators operate unsafe equipment and that they pose a danger to the public. The truth of the matter is that California's safety on the roads is higher than it's ever been before. That truck-involved crashes are at record lows. In fact, we lead the nation in safety with truck drivers. So to claim that this is not the case, that somehow they represent significant danger to the motoring public, is certainly not the case either. And to the degree that there are environmental regulations imposed on port drayage truckers, those are certainly of interest, great interest to us, and certainly subject to the Air Resources Board and their activities. I did have a couple of witnesses here with me, as I mentioned earlier. Tom Bowen is an owner-operator who works the port here at Oakland, and he would like to testify as to why he likes being an owner-operator and some of the responsibilities that he carries, as well as Greg Dubuque, who is with a company called Liberty Line Haul West. He was an owner-operator many years ago, and because of that, he was able to build up a business to be what it is today. And I'd like to start with Tom.
My name is Tom Bowen, and I've been an owner-operator for 25 years. What happened?
Get really close. Yeah. There you go.
How's that? My name is Tom Bowen. I've been an owner-operator for 25 years. I've been in the transportation industry for probably 40 years plus, and I have all of my own authority. I can take my safety record and put it against anybody's. I'm not one of these killer truck drivers, and I also would like to say that I use the port as a source of revenue when I'm not hauling my flatbed around. I run 11 western states. I have several customers. But I also started in the intermodal when I bought my own truck for myself. And they've been very good to me. And if I lose that source of revenue, that work, it's really going to cut into, my business, what I do. And I guess that's about all I have to say. Keep it short. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman Swanson, members of the committee. My name is Greg Dubuque, and my company is Liberty Line Haul West, based in Los Angeles. We're a specialized partial shipment and truckload carrier servicing all points in the U.S. and Canada. Liberty Line Haul West is a proud member of the California Trucking Association, which opposes AB 950. Just going to tell you a little bit about my past, just my life growing up here. In 1997, at the age of 22, I followed both my father and grandfather's footsteps by purchasing my first truck. That was graduating from a company-employed driver to initially opening my own business. At that time, many of my childhood friends were in university, going through to become doctors and lawyers. No offense to any attorneys in the room, but my ambition, I wanted to aim to become the next J.B. Hunt or Henry Dirksen. That's who I idolized against. Because I was able to become an owner-operator, I was able to purchase another truck to service Liberty's growing base of customers in the LA Basin. Growth continues, and now we have a fleet of 25 trucks, as well as 2 owner-operators that, when they're not working for myself, they also work for the port. So they have the ability to go to whether it's ourselves or General Freight, or to work for the Port Authority. Liberty now employs over 35 Californians, the jobs we have created not only are truck drivers, they're also warehousemen, mechanics, dispatchers, and office clerks. And we're still not done yet. Just last week, my company, Liberty Line Haul, won first place for best in its class as one of the safest fleets in California. We were audited by the FMCSA as well as the CHP to achieve this award. All of this simply because I became an owner-operator. The model works. It may have its flaws at times, but please do not throw the baby out with the bathwater and give others the opportunity to become an owner-operator and create their own destiny.
Thank you very much. Any other witnesses in opposition? Name and affiliation only, please. Oh, you got extra time then? Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Vice Chair Morrell. Juan Acosta with BNSF Railway, here on behalf of the California Trade Coalition. It's a coalition that consists of a number of beneficial cargo owners, marine terminal operators, steamship lines, all manner of stakeholder in California goods movement. Our concern with the bill is a narrow one. We have tried to make sense of the mechanics of the bill, specifically the notion of arranging or engaging the services of an operator that in some way, somehow, according to the bill, triggers the employer classification. And to make our concern a little more concrete, let me explain. A beneficial cargo owner might employ or pay a steamship line to move a container in and out of California. Does that act of paying the steamship line, who in turn retains a drayage company, an owner-operator, and move that container from a port to a rail yard or from some other freight facility in and out of a port facility, does that constitute arranging or engaging those services? The term is vague, and the same would apply to any beneficial cargo owner or a railroad or someone else in the logistics supply chain that makes use of a logistics service provider or someone else who in turn acts as an agent for and arranges for somehow, some way, the services of an owner-operator when there is no direct payment or contractual relationship between the beneficial cargo owner and the steamship line or the logistics service provider. It's a bit convoluted. We're trying to make sense of it. I'd even pose a hypothetical to the author and the sponsors of the bill. What about loads that come in from out of state? Does that one incident of moving a container from, let's say, Arizona or Nevada into a California port constitute, is that encompassed by the employer relationship as described or as triggered by this legislation? And how do we police it? How do we regulate that? Easy. Mr. Broad assures me it's easy, so I'll stop there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Jason Schmelzer for the Pacific Merchant Shipping Association in opposition to the bill.
Jennifer Barrera with California Chamber of Commerce, also in opposition to the bill.
Evie Huang, representing customs brokers, forwarders of Northern California, in opposition of AB 950, and I have a written statement, if I may leave.
It's fine with me, Mr. Chairman. You want to submit the statement?
Multiple copies?
Yeah, just give it a statement.
Distribute it? Okay. Give multiple copies. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Missy Johnson with the California Retailers Association, also in opposition.
Crystal Jack on behalf of California Citrus Mutual, California Cotton Ginners and Growers Associations, California Rice Industry Association, California Grape and Tree Fruit League, and Western Agricultural Processors Association, all in opposition. I'd also like to add that on behalf of James Jack, would like to register opposition for the Retail Industry Leaders Association.
Thank you. Any questions from our committee?
Mr. Chairman, let me just say, if I can, that the testimony from Liberty Trucking in terms of their employees, their drivers, this legislation wouldn't affect those employees, obviously, and nor is it designed to affect the companies that are following the rules, that are paying taxes, that actually are not misclassifying their employees, and that's that's true. And I say that, I'm sure that's what the speaker would say. So, anyway,
with the chairman's indulgence,
to respond to that.
greatly appreciate the opportunity. With all due respect, to Assemblymember Swanson, this bill would prohibit gentlemen such as Mr. Dubuque, who testified earlier that he started as an owner-operator, from doing that, and that would deny them, and many of his, successors, the opportunity to start out their own businesses in that manner, and it would prohibit him from engaging the owner-operators that he does use to provide those services as well. Because all owner-operators would not be allowed to access the port. It would be required that they are an employee driver in order to do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Would you like close, sir?
Mr. Fruitani, did you? Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Let me just say that one of the reasons why Speaker Perez and I are pushing this bill is because there are exceptions to the rule of what's happening to the truck drivers. But when you look at what's happening to the large number of truck drivers that are, classified as independent contractors, that are really employees without benefits, that's an abuse that we have to try to address. In addition, let me say this. I represent a port city, City of Oakland. It's clear that the ports are an important economic engine to the state of California. Absolutely clear. But while we have a multi-billion-dollar economic activity, we have to make sure that we're not exploiting those individuals that are essential to the running of this billion-dollar economic engine. And that's what we're trying to address here. That is, unfortunately, what the case is not the exception. It is the case. And so what we're saying here is that this has to be corrected, that you cannot exploit labor at any level. And so to tell someone that it has to be their truck, they have to maintain that truck, and then when you look at the hours that they're working, they work below minimum wage, that overtime is not paid, that health benefits are not paid, that retirement benefits are not paid. All of these things that we have taken a lot of pride in California to say that's part of what, our history of labor law and of fairness to our workforce. And so that's what this bill is about. And we want this to be the rule, not the exception. Now, in terms of creative and fair suggestions that are made, I'm sure the Speaker is open to listen to, fair and creative suggestions. But I conducted, this committee held 2 hearings, one in Northern California at the Port of Oakland and one in Los Angeles, where we interviewed truck drivers, and we found